The restaurant was too expensive for disappointment. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above white linen tables, waiters moved like shadows, and a violinist played a song so soft it almost sounded like sympathy. She checked her watch for the 5th time. 10 minutes late, then 15, then 30. Across the room, a little girl in a yellow dress whispered loudly, "Daddy, I think Mommy forgot." Her father forced a smile. "No, sweetheart, she's just running late." At the exact same moment, the woman at the corner table lowered her phone slowly, the screen still glowing with a message that read, "Sorry. Something came up. Let's reschedule." She had built a billion-dollar empire from nothing. She had negotiated with ruthless investors. She had survived corporate betrayals that would crush most people. But tonight, she couldn't negotiate loneliness. And that was when she heard a quiet voice beside her. "Your blind date didn't show up either." She looked up. The man standing there wasn't dressed like the powerful executives she usually met. His suit was slightly worn at the cuffs. His tie was loosened like he wasn't used to wearing one. In his arms was a sleepy 5-year-old girl holding a stuffed rabbit. But his eyes were kind. She should have ignored him. She was a billionaire CEO. The world knew her as Isabella Laurent, the Iron Lady of Laurent Global Technologies. The media called her cold, untouchable, strategic. Yet in that moment, she was just a woman who had been stood up. "No," she replied softly. He didn't. He nodded toward his table. "Would you, maybe want to join us? I already ordered too much food. And my daughter thinks this place is a castle." The little girl perked up. "Princess dinner," she declared proudly. Isabella almost laughed. She hadn't laughed in weeks. "Just dinner," he added quickly. "No pressure. No expectations." Something about that felt safe. So she stood up. His name was Daniel Carter. A widower. A single father. A high school literature teacher who worked extra shifts tutoring just to afford one special night out for his daughter, Emma. Emma had insisted he try dating again. "She said I deserve someone to smile at me," Daniel admitted quietly. "And you?" Isabella asked. "I said, maybe one day." Isabella didn't tell him that she had been engaged once. Years ago. Before Laurent Global became a powerhouse. Before board meetings replaced holidays. Before ambition swallowed love whole. Her fiancé had left a note on her marble kitchen counter, "You love your company more than you'll ever love me." She built 3 more companies after that. Dinner was awkward at first. But Emma kept interrupting with questions. "Miss Lady, are you a princess?" Isabella hesitated. "No." Emma frowned. "But you look like one." Daniel chuckled. "She means you look important." Isabella swallowed. "I run a company. Like a lemonade stand?" Emma asked. "Sort of," Isabella smiled. For the first time in years, nobody cared about her net worth. They talked about books. About Emma's school play. About how Daniel still read bedtime stories in funny voices even though he was exhausted. "You don't seem like a billionaire," Daniel said thoughtfully. "You don't seem like a man who's struggling," she replied. They both smiled at the same time. But reality returned the next morning. The headline exploded across business news. Laurent Global CEO spotted dining with unknown man and child. Investors panicked. The board demanded explanations. One director bluntly warned her, "Your personal life reflects company stability." As if love were a stock price. Meanwhile, Daniel faced his own humiliation. Parents at school whispered. A colleague joked, "Dating above your pay grade, huh?" He pretended it didn't hurt. Isabella called him that evening. "I'm sorry. This wasn't supposed to touch your life." "It's okay," he replied gently. "I've handled worse." But he hadn't. Emma came home crying 2 days later. A classmate had said, "Your dad's just using her for money." Daniel felt something break inside him. He considered ending it, not because he doubted Isabella, but because he feared the world would destroy something fragile before it had a chance. Isabella faced a different storm. A hostile takeover attempt began quietly behind closed doors. One rival CEO saw her distraction as weakness. Stocks dipped. The board suggested she focus solely on damage control. For the first time, she questioned everything. That night, she drove to Daniel's modest home unannounced. She stepped inside a world completely different from hers. Crayon drawings on the fridge. Mismatched furniture. Laughter echoing from a tiny kitchen. Emma ran to her. "Princess Lady." Isabella knelt down and hugged her. Daniel looked conflicted. "You don't have to fight this battle," he said softly. "Your world is bigger than mine." Isabella looked around. "No," she said. "My world has just been empty." She confessed something she had never said out loud. "I built an empire because I was afraid that if I stopped moving, I'd feel alone." Daniel stepped closer. "You don't have to earn love." The takeover battle intensified. The rival CEO tried to manipulate shareholders, painting Isabella as unstable, emotional, distracted. At the emergency board meeting, she made a decision that shocked everyone. She didn't defend her personal life. She redefined it. She stood tall and said, "For years, I believed sacrifice was the price of success. I was wrong. Leadership without humanity is weakness disguised as strength. Laurent Global will grow, but not at the cost of being human." Silence filled the room. Her authenticity shifted the narrative. Employees rallied behind her. Shareholders recognized her transparency as courage, not vulnerability. The takeover failed, but victory didn't come from power. It came from clarity. Meanwhile, Daniel faced a choice of his own. He received an offer from a prestigious private academy, better pay, better reputation, but in another state. Emma didn't want to leave. He didn't know what to do. Isabella surprised him again. "I have a foundation," she said. "We fund education initiatives. I want you to lead a new literacy program here. On your terms. No spotlight unless you want it. You'd do that." "I don't want to change who you are," she said softly. "I just want to stand beside you." Months later, the same restaurant hosted another evening. But this time, the reservation was under Daniel's name. Emma wore the same yellow dress. And Isabella walked in, not as the lonely CEO who had been abandoned, but as a woman who chose love without fear. Daniel stood when she approached. "No blind dates tonight," he said with a grin. "No," she smiled. "Just destiny." He took her hand. And for the first time in her life, the most powerful woman in the room felt completely safe. But here's the truth that makes this story matter. That night was never about being stood up. It was about two people realizing that rejection isn't the end, it's redirection. Sometimes the person who doesn't show up is making room for the one who will stay. If this story touched your heart, if you believe love can find you when you least expect it, take a moment right now to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this remind us that no matter how successful, strong, or broken we are, we all deserve someone who whispers, "Your blind date didn't show up either." And stays. And maybe, just maybe, the seat across from you isn't empty.